Can I borrow from my IUL policy right away? Do I need to wait a year? How does it work? Welcome, my name is McCluskey. I'm a financial strategist, and I have paid a lot of money to have access to and trade under some of the industry's best when it comes to structuring indexed universal life maximum funded policies. The simple answer is if you are max funding the policy, which you should be, you will be able to access the money as soon as you have surrender value, which is right away. But you can do this a smart way and a dumb way. What we're going to cover in this video is what you need to look out for in terms of early year loan provisions, making sure you're not putting in too much money, and if you are really concerned about early year access, is IUL a bad idea for you? Let's get into it. First thing is our early year loan provisions. Now, whenever we say access money tax-free out of an IUL, almost all the time we are referring to taking a tax-free policy loan from the insurance company rather than just withdrawing it. There are generally two types of these. They're fixed loans and index loans. Fixed loans, and all of this can vary from company to company, but in general are available from day one. They are like they sound. They are a fixed rate. The insurance company allows you to borrow money at a fixed rate. Let's say it's 2.25%. Usually they're going to credit to you an equal and opposite percentage. So if you're loaning the money at 2.25%, they're also crediting you 2.25%. However, in the early policy years, this isn't always available. So for example, if you're going to be loaning the money at 2.25%, sometimes you're only going to be crediting you 2%. This is usually occurring in years 1 to 5 in the policy. So if you're wanting to do a fixed loan, you're going to be paying a little bit of interest for it. Now the second type of loan, and my favorite, is the index loan. These vary from company to company as well, but the general idea is you are taking a loan at a variable rate. Let's say that rate is 5%. While you are taking the loan and paying 5% interest, that same money is staying linked to the index that it was once tied to, hopefully earning a rate, hypothetically, higher than the rate you are paying. So if you're paying 5% on the money and the S&P 500 does 10% and you have a 10% cap, even though you paid 5% on that money, you also gained 10%. Therefore, you netted a 5% gain on money you've already taken out and isn't even in the policy. Well, if that's the case, why wouldn't I just take one of these index loans instead of one of these fixed loans in years 1 to 5 and pay the extra 0.25 interest? Great question. The reason is these index loans generally aren't going to be available in year 1. Again, this is company to company, but a lot of times in year 2 or 3 is when they're going to become available. So if you're wanting to access this money right away, a lot of the times you're going to be stuck using just a fixed loan, paying a little bit of interest, and then in year 2 or 3, if then you wanted to access money, you can do that via a variable loan and start to implement in a little bit of leverage. Also, if you took out a fixed loan rate, let's say it's 2.25%, and they're crediting you 2%, you did that in year 1 or 2. As long as you, at least for the companies that I work with, wait 2 years, you can then transfer that loan balance from a standard loan or that fixed loan rate to an index loan without actually having to pay the loan back and then take out another loan. So if you're getting the standard rate, you're paying 0.25% interest each year, and you're wanting to switch that over to a variable loan and hopefully start gaining some interest, getting a little bit of a spread on that money. Once it's been 2 years, you can actually switch from a standard or fixed loan to an index loan, and you're allowed to switch between loan provisions usually up to once a year. Here's the thing. All of this info is technical and helpful, but what's the main thing to remember? If you are putting money into the policy, you're going to be able to access it. You can take loans, you can pay them back. You can take loans, you can pay them back. You can continue doing all of that. That's great. If you're putting money in and you're expecting to pull 90% of it back out, IUL is probably not for you. These are long-term vehicles. Generally, a rule of thumb is going to be you should be able to, for sure, put at least 50% of the money in there and let that grow for the future. We're not going to be pulling that out right away. When we get higher than that, we're getting into dangerous waters. IULs are vehicles that can blow up in the client's face if they're not handled with care. At a minimum, that 50% number of what we're putting in and what we're going to let grow before just taking it out right away is a good number to go by. So is IUL a bad idea for you? If you can't stick to at least that 50% number, it's probably not a good idea. These are long-term vehicles and they take patience. If you're looking for instant gratification, it's not the vehicle. If you are willing to wait, be patient, be in there for the long run, use this for business opportunities, use this for emergencies, not only to go and take the money out and use it for those, but then implement in a little bit of leverage, or even just waiting to take that money out until retirement and still want all the tax benefits, this could be the vehicle for you. If you've been watching videos about IUL, doing your research, starting to learn a little bit more, and this video provided a little bit of clarity for you and you're wondering, what would this look like for my retirement income, or how would this be able to help my business or my family in the case of an emergency, you can always feel free to book a 20-minute quick consult with myself below. I'm happy to do that, to take a look at your situation and see if it just might make sense for you. Otherwise, subscribe, and I will see you in a future video. Bye-bye.